Hey there, my name is Brandon Howe, and welcome back to my Making a Game series. In the last episode, we made a level select, so we can now transition between our different levels. And this is pretty customizable, as we can have like 50 levels in like a nice grid, or we could have a thing of 10, and then something that goes to like another world. It's a pretty customizable system there, I guess. We also have a main menu with new game, continue, and quit game. Right now, new game and continue do the same thing until we actually integrate saving, and our quit game will work when we actually are in a build of our game. So now, in this episode, we're going to be making some explosions, adding a bit more polish to our game. We're going to have explosions for basically anything that can be destroyed. And now, in order to do that, we are going to duplicate this scene, and we're going to rename it level template, just going back to that sort of template that we were working with, on which we were going to base all our levels off of. These levels 1, 2, and 3 they're probably going to get deleted eventually when we sort of sub them out for the other levels that we'll be actually putting in our level select. But anyway, so in this level template, now we're going to make our explosions. So we're going to go create effects particle system, and there we go. We got this. So we're going to have to edit a lot to get sort of the explosion that we want, but let's get started. So I'm going to get rid of the rotation there. I'm also going to zero all of this out. All right, I'm also just going to move it ways away from the player so we can have a good look at this on its own. So for starters, a simple explosion. We'll make the explosion for the player's shot when it gets destroyed. Actually, most of our explosions will be the same, mainly color, I guess, will be the main difference, but we'll just start with that. So first thing that we're going to want to do is we want it to sort of explode in all direction. And to do that, we're going to change the shape from cone to sphere, so that's going in every direction. I'm also going to lower this radius here to, I guess, 0.5, and this radius thickness also to 0.5, I guess. So now, if we want this to be an explosion of the player's shot, which is yellow, we're going to change these particles to yellow as such. Alright, so now, these aren't very explodey. We want them to have, instead of sort of slowly coming out like this, we want a bunch to come out at once and then slowly slow down and shrink out of existence, I guess. So, let's do that. So down over here with emission, there are a lot of options here that you can mess around with. I did some experimenting beforehand. I came up with something that looks kind of good, I guess. So I'm basically recreating that. But, so right over time, we're going to set that to 0, and instead go down to bursts here, hit this plus icon there, and now this should enable us to have sort of a burst of particles. Now I'll set this up to 50 for now, and we'll probably have to change that as we go. I'm also going to then set the duration of this to only, I guess, 2 seconds. Yep. And then the start lifetime, we're going to want to set that really low, because we only want the explosion to exist for a very short amount of time. And also to add some randomness, we're actually going to switch this from a constant to a random between two constants, and we'll go between, let's go 0.25 and 1 for our lifetime here. And then speed, we're going to do a similar thing, a random between two constants. We're going to want these to be moving pretty fast. We'll actually have it go, I guess, between 10 and 0 once, so we can have some particles that aren't moving at all, and they'll just sort of be in the center. As well, start size, we're going to set that to random as well, and we'll go between, I guess, 0.25 and 1. Although this default size might be a bit too big, but we can, when we actually put it in for our shot, we can see if it's too big or not. Gravity, we don't need to deal with that. Not in space. Play on awake, yes. Now we're going to want to actually have it sort of slow down, I guess. Let's see. In order to do that, I think we're going to want to go to velocity over lifetime. And then this speed modifier, we're going to want that to sort of lower as... Actually, what happens if I just set this to something like 0.1? Does that slowly... That's not a... Sort of seeing... Is that... Yeah, no, that's not changing the speed. That just sort of is dampening it. So we're going to set this to a curve. And then we're going to sort of experiment with some of these values and what they sort of accomplish. So we have that. That's kind of what we want. We can try out a few others. We have that sort of thing going on. If we make it linear, this thing where it's sort of, we also go the other direction, but that's not really what we want. That's interesting. So it sort of goes out and slow it down. You could also, I guess, if you made it in the negative, it would, oh, that's an interesting effect. We could have it go out and then come back in. Actually, that could be an interesting effect, or it comes out, comes back in, and then gets destroyed there. You could also do this to sort of have it be stopped, and then I think I actually kind of like that, where it goes out and comes in. I wasn't anticipating on that. I'm gonna put it out though, I guess, or maybe like this, something like this. Yeah, we'll have it come out fast and then sort of vortex in, I guess. We can see what that looks like. Maybe, yeah. As well, I'm gonna have a size over lifetime. I'm going to set that so it slowly sort of shrinks as it goes from start to finish. Yeah, just again messing with values here. Just sort of seeing what we can come up with. Those are interesting. We can also add more particles, and actually, instead of doing that, I'm going to increase some of the particles that get destroyed a bit too quickly. Something like that. Again, this is all just random experimentation. What happens if I hit optimize? Oh, that's, well, it just brings us back to where we were before. That's not what I want. What happens if I, oh, it could come out, go in, and then come out again. That might be not what we want, though. If I'm having it get reversed, I could also increase this speed. What happens if I put something just really big? I could also try, if I set it to a different one of these things and then make it negative, seeing what happens with that. Just sort of experimenting around. I think I also set that down. Let's go to like 20. Something like that, I think maybe works good. And then maybe the max lifetime, just capping that down just a tad. Oh wait, that's the only value there. Maybe setting this 2.25 after all, and something like this. Just trying to cap the ones that sort of come out at the end, to sort of have it come out and then in. Or no, maybe we'll set that up so it looks more intentional for the few stragglers that we do have. What if I set it to this one and then set that negative? What if I just made it linear? That's another option. Just again seeing different options, just seeing what they look like. If I set it to really big or really far out. That, again, interesting results, just sort of fiddling around. I will go with that for now. We can also randomize the colors as well. So it could be sort of a, we go like something like this maybe. Again, seeing what that looks like, or sort of the space background. Ooh. Again, lots of maybe. I think I'll stick with just the one color for that. We'll see what it looks like. Actually, I will go with the two colors. What happens if I put something with a really low transparency? That could, I just try and have some of the particles kind of look different. Something like this, then. Maybe I could make it a different hue, like orange or something like that. Orange, then a bit more transparency. Okay, there we go. That, I think, works better. So, yes. All right, so we got our explosion here, and I think that will work for now. So we're going to, as well, because this is something that's going to be spawned as an explosion, we're going to want it to get destroyed after a few seconds of it being done. So we're actually going to add a destroy by time script to it, and we'll set that to, so this should be done after 2 seconds, but just adding some leeway just in case. Then it should get destroyed after 4 seconds. So then we're going to rename this to player shot explosion, and then we're going to make that a prefab, but just to have things be a little bit more organized. I could probably go in here later and do some more reorganizing with tidying things into folders and all that, but I'm going to make a new folder here called particle systems, just to store all of our explosions in there. So now I'm going to drag and drop that into there. That's the only thing in there. So now we got this. I'm going to delete it from here, and now we're going to set up our shot actually spawning it. So to do that, we're going to go over to our shot destroy script, and then this will get a reference to its to the shot's spawn, or it's going to get a reference to the explosion, and then when it gets destroyed, it's going to instantiate it. And then we can make another empty game object to just kind of store all of our explosions in the inspector, since I imagine there's going to be a lot from all our shots, from our enemies, and all of that. So public game object, or game object here. Game object player or shot explosion. Player shot explosion. All right. And then we can get a private reference to our, okay, we can get a reference to that shot spawn, but then I guess we could rename it. No, okay. So we'll just get a private, transform, trying to let autocorrect hopefully help out, but it doesn't seem to be doing so. So private transform, and then we'll call it, explosion parent, explosions parent. And then we'll get a reference to that in our start function. Void start explosions parent equals game object dot find explode. Actually, we'll call it explosions, or we'll call it particle systems, just in case we have more things that we want to store under there. Particle systems. All right. And it doesn't like that. Oh yeah, dot transform. So now when we actually destroy our player or our shot, now we're gonna want to actually spawn our explosion. So we'll go instantiate our shot. So player shot explosion. No, player shot explosion at transform dot position and transform dot rotation. Not that that should matter since it's going to be a sphere anyway, but yeah. And then as a parent, our explosion parent. All right, that should be it there, and then that'll be right as it destroys the shot. So now we're going to want to actually make this empty game object to sort of store that. So an empty game object that we're going to zero out called particle systems. This could also store more things, or just if we had other special effects of some kind. So now that we have that, I guess, on our prefab for our shot, we're gonna now want to go and give over here we're gonna actually want to give it our player shot explosion, which is down here. Now we're gonna want to select this and then drag and drop. All right, now we'll test this out. I'm going to expect that the explosion is going to be way too big, but we're about to find out. So when this gets destroyed, ooh, okay, that looks nice, except, again, way too big. Oh, we have, yeah, the explosion looping, and we have errors that we don't want. So first of all, going into this, one, it's way too big. Two, yeah, our errors here. It's also looping. So we don't want it to loop. We only want it to run once. And then we'll fix our size problem. We can, I guess, 0.1. Nope, 0.1. And not that. 0.25. That's going to be really small. I could also decrease the speed just so they don't go flying out as far. thinking maybe I will let that go all the way up to 0.5, just because we're also gonna have an explosion for like the asteroid exploding as well. The player shot explosion should be the smaller of them. Now I'd like to just sort of see where this is coming from. From shot destroy line 13. It does not like this. Particle systems. Did I just misspell it? Particle systems with an S. All right. Whoa. So with an S, spelling is important when you're getting references to strings like that. So now testing this out. All right. I also think we could maybe add. Thinking if maybe we could also have the explosions kind of moving this way. That could be something that we want to do. We can't really do that with sort of velocity because we don't. This isn't really moving at all. External forces. Nope. We could. Is there a way to sort of add forces to this? I'll inherit velocity. No. That won't help at all. Force over lifetime. Can we apply force to this? Is that, yeah, controls the force of each particle during its lifetime. That would be handy. So I guess we can test this out and sort of see what we can do with it. So if we make this on the world space, going in the direction that we want it to go in, that was on the z-axis. So let's set this to -5 and see what happens, I guess. That's what we'll do. Just sort of test this out with different values. Very experimental. Oh, is it going the other way? It's going the other way. That's good, and that's good. It's working. It's kind of working. Finding our player shot explosion here, and then taking this and then changing this values. So positive numbers, and I'm just gonna set something really high just so we can test if it's actually working. Yeah. All right. So now exploding these. That's interesting. Way too fast, but working. So let's. Oh yeah, because the speed gets inverted. That's why it goes one way and then the other. So we'll set that to 10, and I'm just gonna guess that that's fine. So now we're gonna want to create or do the same. We're gonna use the same explosion, slightly altered for basically everything else, I think. So let's take our player shot. We're gonna duplicate it to make. We'll make the enemy shot explosion. I'll make all of these at once and then test them all together. So enemy shot explosion. It will make it red. Simple enough. Maybe red and black. What does that look like? If I can zoom in on this a lot more. Cool. I think that works. This enemy's bad, all that. Yeah, no, not white for sure. Yeah, okay, we'll set it to that. And then they should also be the same size, so that shouldn't be a problem there. Now we're going to want to set this up over where we destroy our shot, which I forget what script does that. Over here, enemy shot. Open that prefab. So it has a destroy by time, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. Actually, what we can do, we could just add. So destroy by time could be used by multiple things. Just sort of think about how I want to, go about this. So we want to actually know when it gets destroyed, and we definitely wouldn't want to do it on. We wouldn't want to destroy it on disable because that'll have problems when we go to transition scenes and everything gets destroyed. So actually, actually in a there's nothing here that actually, because the shot move here. Just controls that. What controls the shot actually getting destroyed? That's the player over in player health. But I wouldn't want the player health to have the references to the shot explosion. So I guess we're going to have to reroute some stuff then. Instead of player shot destroying other game objects. We're going to want to have scripts on those other objects that handle them getting destroyed themselves and then spawning their own explosions. So that means we're going to have to make some new scripts. This could take a while to reroute a bunch of stuff, but it'll be worth it for our explosions to be in there. So we're going to make a new script called enemy destroy. Or enemy shot destroy. And then we'll make another enemy destroy as well. Or actually, no, there is already an enemy health, so that'll be fine there. So enemy shot destroy. Yes. Not that. Oh. What's happening here? Alright, so now we're going to open that up. And then this will control when it collides with... The only thing that'll destroy a shot is colliding with the player. So we can then just go to straight down to our void on trigger enter, and then if other dot compare tag, if we collide with the player, then we'll destroy ourselves and spawn in the explosion. So we're going to need to get a reference to the explosion. So public game object explosion, and then yeah, I can just call that explosion, and that's fine. I'm not sure if we'll need to spawn. Yeah, no, we won't make explosions when the objects get spawned, because I don't think we need to or want to. We can experiment with it, but over in shot destroy over here, I'm just gonna copy. I'll copy actually all this code here, and then just rename things. So like that, and then we'll call this, enemy shot explosion instead. Enemy shot explosion, and then I'm gonna just go and copy over this instantiate function there, and just paste it there, and then this will also destroy itself. Destroy game object with a lowercase g. Alright, so now then this will also spawn the enemy shot explosion. Cool. If I can spell destroy right. Destroy game object. Cool. Then we're also going to want to alter the player health to not destroy the shot. Player health over down here. So it won't destroy the other game object, which we're also going to handle the enemy in a second. So we don't need to handle that there. The shield pickup I think is fine. We won't make an explosion for that, so we can destroy it. Same thing with the gun pickup. We'll just kind of do it. So now waiting a second here, we're going to add then this enemy shot destroy script there, and then go over to our particle system, particle systems, and drag in our enemy shot. So now that should work, and we'll test it out. And just quickly, getting to the next section to get destroyed. I still might make that enemy shot smaller, just depending on how big the asteroid explosions look. Oh, we have to get pretty far in our level. Still have the infinite health thing turned on, so no problems there. Now I just have to wait for these enemies to shoot and get destroyed. Except we won't get destroyed, but that seems to work fine. Alright, now moving on to enemies. I'm going to duplicate this again, our enemy shot, and then we'll just turn this into enemy explosion. No, we'll need a different explosion for each enemy. Well, yeah, alright, so we'll make turn enemy explosion. Our different enemy explosions should be just the same, just different colors. So turn enemy explosion. Actually, we'll make the asteroid one first, so we'll just call it hazard explosion. Going in here, this is for the asteroid, so we'll set it to gray. We'll go gray and black, I guess. Yeah, how does that look? I'll have to, again, zoom in on it a lot. I think that looks good, but with the gray background, I can't really see, but with the space background, then that should be fine. What about white? Actually, I think white looks better in that circumstance, so I'm also just going to make that darker just to sort of compensate. Alright, so now we have that. We're going to want to also make it bigger. So our start size, I will set this to 1. And then I'll go 0.25 and 1. Those might be too big and all that, but we'll find out. And then I'll set that to 15. Maybe. Yeah, we'll find out if that's good or not. So now hazard explosion, we're going to want to make on all of our enemy health scripts. We're going to want to then make a script or add something to it so that the it'll have an explosion, which will be more or less a lot of the same things that we've had previously. So I'm just going to copy them over since they're so similar. I'll copy all of this and then have to position some things. So I'm just going to copy that code. So we have our our enemy explosion. Enemy explosion, explosion's parent, copying just this line of code into the start function and then getting rid of it. All right, bam, bam, and then over here where it gets destroyed. Actually, this destroys this anyways. We didn't need the player to do that, but oh well. So now then we're gonna go and copy the instantiate function here again, and then spawn our enemy explosion with everything else being the same. Alright, so that should handle actually all of our enemies. Now we just need to make and assign all of the explosions, so we'll just do that all right away. I'm going to actually, before I duplicate this, just make sure that the size is all good for the hazard, or for our asteroid, because if it's right, then we'll only need to resize. If it's wrong, we'll only need to resize it once as opposed to several times. So now our enemy health, finding our particle systems here, dragging in our hazard explosion. Now we'll test that, and then we'll also get to see how it looks relative to our shot. All right, so now we have this. Pew pew. All right, we got shots, and I think they both look fine together. All right, so now we're going to want to. Oh, this is. Oh, yeah, that's not the sign there. Actually, just to save me some future headaches in case I'm making new enemies and they don't have an enemy explosion, I'm just going to add an if statement to this. It only instantiate it if the enemy explosion exists. So if enemy explosion is not equal to null, so if we actually put in a reference there, then we'll spawn it. Otherwise, we won't spawn it, but this will also just stop errors in case we're just working on new enemies and all that. So now, waiting a second for that to load in. Now we're going to take this hazard explosion, duplicate it, make it the turn enemy explosion, which will be purple, and that, it'll be purple. Or like that, magenta color. So turn enemy explosion, going into that, or actually I should probably I'll call it enemy turn explosion, just so all of our enemy explosions are together. Enemy turn explosion, and then we'll set this instead to this sort of magenta-y color. How does that look? Again, zooming in really far. Maybe with the black. Actually, what does it look like? It kind of had a secondary color of that like window, so we can test what that looks like. And then I can also actually remove the alpha channel of that. Okay, actually, I think that looks fine. Actually, I will bring back that alpha channel there. All right, so we got magenta and that blue color. So that's that done. Duplicating it again, going out of this to our enemy shoot, which is orange and black, I believe, is the secondary color. Oh, wasn't done with that. Ho-ho. Okay, so enemy shoot explosion, going into that, and then setting this to orange as the primary color, and then setting or the secondary color I said was like black, I think. So now we'll test that out. We could make unique explosions for every enemy and every shot, but I think just with how many we have, just so this isn't, it's kind of redundant, but just so it's not too redundant, just sort of making them all together. Now, that was, this also had the blue casing. So, I guess we'll do that. And then this one can be red and green, I guess. Back over to enemy shot. Not shot, enemy shoot with 2 O's. Oh, wait. Wait, no, sorry, no. We have enemy shot and enemy shoot. Ooh, yikes. Enemy shoot explosion. We'll set this to the same kind of glass blue. Yep. Just so that it's because to match that sort of secondary color that we had. Now going this, duplicating it again. This one won't have a secondary color of blue. Enemy shoot, turn and shoot, turn and shoot. Getting rid of that one at the end. Boom. Opening that up. Primary color, green. Secondary color, red. So it's going to be all Christmas here. Boom. That works. Cool. You could also maybe set up, well, there's no way to, well, actually, you could have a random between a gradient if you wanted the 3 colors to add that black in there. But that'll be fine. So now we have all of those done. Now we need to assign them to our prefabs. So we did it to hazard already. Now going to enemy turn, opening that up, down to our health there, and we can actually just open up this. Whoa. We're going down to assets. Oh, enemy turn explosion, just putting that in there. Going out of it, going to our enemy shoot, opening that up, down to this enemy health, enemy explosion, opening that up, going to assets, finding our enemy shoot explosion right there, saving that, going out, finding our last enemy, enemy turn and shoot, and then going down to enemy explosion, and then going to assets, enemy turn and, not that one, enemy turn and shoot explosion. And now that should be all of our explosions done. Nope, I'm wrong. We need to make one for the player, but I'm going to test the enemies first just to see if they all work properly. So hopefully this works and looks good. So now we got boom, explosion, boom, explosion. You can also make, as opposed to that default explosion particle, you can make different graphics for that. But I'm just going to stick with this for now. So there we got nice explosions. Cool. Boom, and then we got that one. Boom, and we have also all this. Cool. Snazzy. And now this one should also work good. That is an interesting combination of colors. All right, well, actually also the, yeah, that's fine. I think I might actually make it green and black just because the way that the red and green sort of combine, like the middle is kind of a yucky color. That's what happens when they're on opposite sides of the color wheel. Let's fix that quickly. So enemy shoot and turn, or turn and shoot, I guess. I'm just gonna make the secondary color of that black, not there. Secondary color of that black, I think works better. All right. So that handles that. Finally, player explosion. We'll just take any of our enemy explosions, duplicate that, call it player explosion. Whoa, over here, there's still a 1 on the end we want to get rid of. There we go. Opening that up. The player's like 3 different colors. I guess the main is the brown and the green, so we'll make it green, and then hopefully a brown color will work in nicely with this. Where is brown's over like there? Does that look good? I guess so. Yeah, I'm actually also gonna bring off that transparency there so you can see both colors. That looks fine, I guess. Actually, what if I made the blue just to, because that's another color that we could go for. I might actually just use that just because I think it looked better. Yeah, sure. It doesn't really matter too much, I don't think. You could also have another, like an explosion of, you can make an explosion of light and just have it be white if you wanted to, I suppose. And then you can make all the enemies explosions of black or red or who knows what. All right, so now to the player. The player health is what we'll modify to add that. Player health over here. So now we're going to then want to add, again, an explosion thing. So we're going to then copy it from here. Taking all of that over to our player health. Pasting it in, but then moving things around just to be more organized. So I'm going to put that up there. Just add our explosions parent on the end of all that. And then move this, getting the explosions parent to the end of all that start function, and then deleting that there. Then we don't need this update function. We haven't used it at all. We might need it one day, but then we can just add it back. So then where we actually destroy the player is over... Oh, we don't actually destroy them. We just set them to be inactive, but still that's where we want the explosion to be. So we're going to go... Actually, we'll just copy again the same instantiate function there, putting that in, and all of that player, actually just player explosion. And that's what we named up here too. Player explosion. All of that. Cool. Yep. There. It's waiting a bit longer. All right. So now testing or putting that in there. Going to assets, finding player explosion. Over here. That means we're going to have to actually set this to being active just so that we can actually be destroyed properly. Here we go. Boom. Nice. And should that get destroyed? Nah, yeah, that can just plow through the player. All right, so we got lots of explosions now. Sorry if that was a bit tedious, but sometimes it's just what you got to do. Again, I could go in and then make these a bit more different, but this works fine for now. Boom. So we got explosions, and yeah, they're simple and easy enough. Just wanted to experiment with one last thing. Going to our player explosion. I just want to see of our down here to render. This is where you would summon a different material. So this is right here is the default particle thing. I just want to see for experimentation's sake what it looks like if you put in. Actually, why is there two of these? Default particle. Is there a difference? So we got that one, and then we got default particle system. I don't think there's a difference. I'll just go with that one. I don't know. Actually, yeah, there isn't really any default. I was hoping there actually... Oh, that would be an interesting explosion. You could be making a game that's like inside a computer and this thing's being all glitchy. That could be kind of cool. Yeah, there's nothing else default that we can really do anything with. I was hoping there would be more, or we'd be able to get access to the... what's it called? The... some of the UI element things, because there's like a solid circle. I was hoping to get access to that, but it doesn't seem like we will be able to. Oh well, there's no other option for getting an image. Nope, doesn't appear so. That's fine. Trail material, that's another thing you could experiment with. I just want to see what that does. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, that's going to require more experimentation. Oh, if you actually had trails turned on. Actually, let me see what that does look like. Whoa, that's bizarre. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. That is very cool. What happens if I put the default particle in there? That does look like it could be pretty heavy on gameplay. Let me just put that there. Or let that loop. -5. And I just want to see what that looks like without the orange around it. Okay, can I see what that looks like, please? In here? No. Where are you? Oh, right, you're in your own little scene thing. That's why I can't see you. Oh, well, that's, again, that's fine. I think I'm going to turn that off for now because I don't know how intensive that is on the system and all that. I'll just leave it like that for now. That's, again, more stuff to experiment with. You can also turn on collision to have these particles bounce on stuff. You can use gravity to have them kind of fall. Combining the two, the particles can actually fall under gravity and bounce on surfaces. Rotation, all that stuff. I think there might, yeah, there's a system as well that you can have 3D objects, but being careful with how much stuff you're actually spawning. That could be, again, really intensive on your hardware, I guess, which might not affect you much in Unity, but if you're making like a phone game or something, then you want to make sure things are optimized and not too crazy. So anyway, that'll do it for now. Yeah, that'll do it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to continue our particle system journey and make a jet system for the player here and for our enemies. And yeah, and then actually having them not just spawning where the player is, but over where an enemy is, but over at these different spots. So that'll do it for now. Yeah, so that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a good day.